Marriage and family therapist Dr. Eli Karam is with us. You know, in a perfect world, your family would be absolutely smoothly run. Everything runs perfectly, but that's just not the case with any of us. So feel free to call today and talk to Dr. Eli Karam, 571-5263. First of all, let's let people check you out a little bit.
Sure.
The Kentucky Association for Marriage and Family Therapy.
Yep.
Okay, you can check them out on Facebook, right?
Yep, you can check us out on Facebook, or you can go to www.kamft.org, and that's going to have everything on there, both for the consumer out there, people potentially looking for a marriage and family therapist, and for other mental health professionals. But yeah, as you go on, you see right there, you can go to the left at the right-hand top corner, you can follow us on Facebook, and everything that's going on within KMFT, including all of our past segments, John, that we've done in 2013 on Wave 3 Listens.
It's very interesting television. Therapistlocator.com. Now, hopefully if you have an issue and you'd like to talk about it, you can call us today at 571-5263. Or if you're at home and you have something you think may be a little bit more private or is going to require a few sessions, therapistlocator.net.
Correct.
Okay, therapistlocator.net. Okay, today we're going to talk about something that, you know, I thought of that was an issue really with my teenager. Because it seems to me that we are lacking today when our kids, because of the ability to text and social media, the one-on-one relationship, the face-to-face conversations. And that's what our letter is concerning today. So I'm going to cut right to the chase and put you to work, okay?
Let's do it. I got my handy iPhone right here. So
is it an enemy or friend?
I don't know. We'll see how many texts I get during the segment.
All right, here we go. Here we go. It says, Dr. Eli, my ex-girlfriend told me that I text too much instead of talking in person. I frankly find it easier and more convenient. When is it wrong to text in relationships? Frank, good question. I'm really eager to hear the answer. So, Dr. Eli, what is the answer to this one?
Yeah, well, let's do some do's and don'ts of texting today. So, John, first of all, we got to know that this is a technology that is great. It's revolutionized how we've communicated in the past decade. In fact, emerging adults, 18 to 24, send about 2,000 texts a month. That's about 67 a day.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. The demographic right above that, 25 to 34, they send about 1,000. And people like me and you, 35 to 55, we send still a good amount, and we're a group of demographics that's on the rise. So this is a technology everybody is using. So when it is appropriate and when it is not. And Frank, I really appreciate that email. It's nice to get some mail, both callers hopefully today, and also people writing into KMFT at insightbb.com. That's how you can send emails to be read on the show. So text is great when you have a quick information to pass on. Either, hey, honey, have a great day, words of encouragement, or a quick note, hey, this is what I need you to meet up with me here, pick this up on the way home. These are good things when you have quick information or kind of words of praise. Texting when it's not. Let's don't go over our don'ts. So let's see how many of these that you guys, as well as myself, have fallen prey to. Do not text when a face-to-face conversation is in order. When it is going back and forth and you're spending minutes, even hours going back and forth, that is probably something, John, that should be done face-to-face, a conversation. Do not text when you are extremely angry. This idea to get a message out, a zinger to your partner. Texting also associated when you're angry, when you're intoxicated. A drunk text, which can, when you sober up in the morning, can come back to haunt you, either being embarrassed or something that you said that you don't mean. Also, speaking of things you don't mean, texting is also very difficult, John, because we can't judge tone unless it's in all caps or something like that. It is hard. When you are in a face-to-face conversation with someone or even on the phone, you can judge more. See, when you see someone...
Body language.
Yes. The nonverbals, the meta-communication. When we're texting, we don't know if it was meant to be a joke. Were they serious? Were they half serious? And it can really lead to some confusing and potentially kind of errant interchanges and writing back and forth with something the person doesn't mean. So face-to-face communication in a conversation is always important. When it's going to be long, as I said, more than 140 characters.
Not good.
Have you ever seen one of those texts and you keep scrolling down and down and down? brevity. If it's going to take a long time, do not put it in text form. And last but not least, when you have to deliver bad news, you don't want to be fired by text. You don't want someone to break up with you by text or find out that your loved one has gotten into an accident or some catastrophic news. When it is bad news, please deliver that face-to-face or at the very least on the phone.
I agree with you. 140 characters. So is this something that was done? Was there a study that was done to find out when is the cutoff here? You know, when is it too long? And I agree with you. If it's a long text, you know, pick up the phone and call me, or like you said, hey, can we talk later on tonight? That kind of thing, right?
But it is a generational kind of shift in that many teenagers the marriage and family therapists worked with would rather have a conversation. If you ask them how you talk to your friends, it is usually by text a lot of times, because they can have multiple conversations with multiple people at times. They can have group text. And I remember I thought I was hip when I was a senior. I think I got a pager, and I thought, and that seems like eons ago. So the way we communicate, the way we use our phones, you know, people on their phone all the time. So I think a parent also, when we think of just couples and texting or in romantic relationships, I think when we think of your teenager or your young adult with a text, you want to understand kind of what they're texting, how much they're texting, but some parents really obsess, and if they read those texts out of context, they can really be worried about their teenager. So I think the kind of golden rule is to a parent to know about your child's texting habits, to have some limits around that. Some parents freak out, especially if they have not set up their phone bill or they don't have unlimited texting, and then they see their son or daughter has sent thousands and thousands of texts a month, and it can create a big problem for the family. So you want to have some dialogue with your teenager, if you're a parent, on their texting behavior and what you allow and what you don't.
You know, Dr. Karam, I would think this is not exclusive to young people, because I think we have kind of lost the ability, or we're losing the ability rapidly to have that one-on-one communication, because it's become much easier. And I think it is a skill. I mean, you have young people and adults alike now who it's hard for them to communicate one-on-one. And when it comes to job interviews, interaction with people that you need to have day to day, I do think that it's important to, let's like you said, let's limit those texts to, hey, how you doing, encouraging text. And other than that, let's talk.
Yeah, or use the text to set up the talk. Hey, I really need to have a conversation with you. It's really important. But you're right, and some people again have this what I call keyboard courage. They'd rather say these things, as we said, that are more appropriate for face-to-face conversation on a text, when it's harder them to look someone in the eye and have that talk with them. But it's a great technology. You just want to do it in limitation. The other thing I get a lot, and marriage and family therapists get in working with families and couples, is that, you know, you're out to dinner or you're just sitting around trying to enjoy your family or your partner, and the person is constantly on their cell phone. Now, it could be browsing, it could be email, but a lot of time it's texting. That you're having a conversation. I'm having a conversation with you, and I'm also texting back and forth at the same time, which for a lot of people
is rude.
Yeah, we wouldn't think of being out to dinner with someone and taking a phone call while we're out at dinner. Yeah, texting is kind of the same way. And again, if you're comfortable with someone, that's great. But if not, it kind of sends a message that, you know, this face-to-face conversation is not as important as this text, and we don't want to do that for sure.
All right. If you have a marriage or a family issue, 571-5263. We're talking about texting, but he's willing to talk about just about anything.
Yeah, we'll talk about anything today. We were here for an extended segment. Anything couple and family related, please call.
All right, 571-5263. We'll be right back. Dr. Eli Karam, licensed marriage and family therapist on Wave 3 Listens.
Breaking the news every morning when you wake up.
Breaking news this morning.
A 500,000-gallon tank that won't stop leaking.
The leak happened right behind me.
They're too close to Rubber Town. Get them out the house.
We're going to continue to watch this as it moves through this morning.
This is what's happening now. This is Wave 3 News Sunrise. You'll want to double check before you're getting on the bus today.
For the first time, not only in school history, they are investigating that, so we will keep you updated.
There's some flooding concerns that we're having already this morning.
Weekday mornings only on Wave 3 News.
Welcome to Springhurst Pines.
This is our home.
We help people get back on their feet.
This is a great place to provide care.
I have ice cream with my Mimi here.
I'm surrounded by my friends here.
We are a non-profit ministry.
Independent living, personal care, skilled nursing, or short-term rehab.
Visit our website or call us for a tour. Springhurst Pines on North Hurstbourne Parkway.
Welcome back. I am joined by licensed marriage and family therapist, Dr. Eli Karam. He's a Thursday segment, and he's taking your phone calls at 571-5263. Let's jump to the phones and talk to Sandy from Pekin, Indiana. Good afternoon, Sandy.
Good afternoon.
You have a question for Dr. Eli?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
How about when you go to the doctor's office and your doctor takes you back and he starts just say, oh, I got to get this. And he'll start texting on his phone. I could see if it was something to do with the patient or something, but evidently I don't think it was.
So you're in the middle, Sandy, of a kind of routine exam or consultation, and your doctor inexplicably just takes time out to start texting. Well, that's certainly, obviously, if I was the patient, that would be disconcerting. So did you comment on that, or did you not?
Yes.
Oh, you did. What did you say to him?
I said, well, don't want to say his name. I said, doctor, I said, this is very rude. I said, this is my appointment time, not your texting time.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, I got to get this one more. And he just went in again.
Well, again, I'm hoping your experience is not symptomatic of most physicians or helping professionals or clinicians.
No, just with him. And I've heard from other customers that he does the same thing to them.
So it is, again, obviously, even though it's this built-in part of our culture, texting, it is disconcerting and rude, especially when you are paying for your time with whoever it is you're seeing and somebody thinks they can multitask. So I think to address it like you did is very important. Any type of helping professional, whether it be doctor, therapist, whatever, is kind of trained to take feedback from you, the client, or the patient. So to give that is very important. So I think you did the right thing. I think it just shows us what we were talking about earlier, that the fact that people are so connected to this that they don't think twice, that they can do both and multitask. But to the person on the other end that's not texting, it is very disconcerting and rude. So I'm glad you respectfully let him know that, Sandy. Thanks for calling.
We had another caller who did not want to stay on the line, and their question was this. She's watching the show. Her husband often sends her angry text. How does she deliver the message? That can we make this a one-on-one conversation face-to-face and not do the angry text? How do you deliver that message and do it in a delicate way to where you don't upset your partner?
Yeah, okay, so the first thing is, as we said, it's very hard to understand the tone of a text. Now, you can tell it's angry if it's in all caps or if it's really negative, if it's profanity laden in there. So let's say you're right and you have assumed it's an angry text. You want to kind of, first of all, understand, is that anger being directed towards you, or is your spouse or loved one just having a bad day? Well, if it's directed at you, I think you want to acknowledge that they're upset, but you also want to acknowledge you're not going to talk to them when they're upset, and you're certainly not going to communicate via text. So you want to practice some of these fair fighting skills we've talked about on the show, i.e. taking a time out the right way. Hey, be happy to talk to you when you cool down. Come back, let's do it face to face, but I'm not going to dialogue with you back and forth with angry text, and I'm certainly going to, as I say, match your crazy with my own. I'm not going to do that. So you kind of acknowledge where they're at, but you also kind of hold ground that you care about them, but you're not going to interact with them when they're angry like that.
So the bottom line, texting, friend or foe, done in the right way, I guess it's a friend.
It's a great technology. I think you and I and everybody else would say we can't live without it now. I know I couldn't. It's helpful for me in every way, but we'll never replace a face-to-face, heart-to-heart conversation.
Licensed marriage and family therapist, and if you'd like to check it out, therapistlocator.net if you're looking for some help. What kind of issues do you typically handle, Dr. Karam?
Marriage and family therapist, remember there's about 400 of them licensed as part of the Kentucky Association of Marriage and Family Therapy in Kentucky, many of those centrally located here in Wave Country in the Louisville area, and they're going to help you in your whole systemic context. So whether you're an individual, a couple, or a family, these normal developmental roadblocks we hit on the family life cycle, i.e. getting into relationships, exiting relationships, being parents for the first time struggling, how to adapt their individual styles, blended families after divorce, families with aging parents, all these issues that we have tackled and will continue to tackle on these segments throughout the rest of the year. And you do not have to you do not have to have a significant other to go to a marriage and family therapist. I said we work with just as many individuals from a relational point of view as they do couples and families.
All right. We have another caller. It's Glinda who is calling. Good afternoon, Glinda. You have a question for Dr. Karam. Go ahead, Glinda. Glinda. I think do we have Glinda, or we lost Glinda?
I'm here.
All right, Glenda, go ahead.
Go ahead, Glenda.
I have a granddaughter that's in a relationship with another girl, and the other girl has been abusive physically and verbally. And my granddaughter doesn't know that I know about this. What can I do?
Yeah, how old is your granddaughter, Glenda?
She's 26.
Okay, she's 26, so she's an adult. So whether it be opposite sex or same-sex relationship, we can't be in relationships if there's not safety. Remember, we define safety 3 ways: physical safety, are we putting our hands on each other? Emotional safety, are we using our vulnerabilities against the other person to kind of hit below the belt, if you will? And commitment safety, will I bail on you at the first sign of trouble? So if this is not a safe relationship, you want to make sure that your daughter knows that she has support and that she does not have to stay, or your granddaughter knows that she does not have to stay in that. So you want to help set up a plan, if she wants your help, that you will be ready, you or your extended family, to help her kind of exit that relationship. That being said, lots of people get into relationships, and the person they're with, just because they have had a violent episode, does not make them intimate terrorists or necessarily horrible people. We have what we call situational violence, and marriage and family therapists believe if people, are basically good but get into heated confrontations, again, in the heat of the moment, can learn fair fighting skills, and that's very different than someone that is an intimate terrorist, someone that is pathological, psychologically abusive. So you'd want to decide, or help your granddaughter decide, is this a violent relationship that needs to be ended right away? And many are like that, and then people need help getting out of those. Or is this a relationship where people care about each other but don't have the communication skills and get frustrated in the heat of the moment? In that case, you could help them to find a marriage and family therapist or a relationship expert to help them to learn to fight fair.
All right. We're going to try to grab one more call. We may have to extend this to the next segment to get the answer, but here we go. I think we have Jean on the line. Jean, good afternoon.
Hi.
Hello, Jean. Go ahead.
Well, I was calling for my great-granddaughter. Her mother's in the hospital right now having a baby, and she's pretty upset about it because she has 3 children already, and this will be 4. And she wanted me to call to see what you all would say to her.
This is your great-granddaughter is estranged from your granddaughter, is that what you're saying? And you're
No, she stays with her mother, but she stays with me a lot too.
Okay, so what role are they looking for you to do, Jean? What would they like for you to connect the daughter and the granddaughter? Help me understand.
I wish I knew how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
The mother doesn't show much feeling at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I knew how to do that. That's why this one don't want the baby.
Mm-hmm. You want to do a quick version of that, or you want to wait?
I tell you what,
okay.
I wish we had time, but here's what we're going to do. Maybe we can extend this into the next time that you appear.
Sure.
And in the meantime, I'm going to encourage you, Jean, if you would please. It's therapistlocator.net. Apparently, she wants to make sure that that she receives some attention, that this is a good world to bring this baby into, that kind of thing. She has some angst over this.
And I'll tell you what, I can talk to Jean off the air.
There we go.
That will help her right now. Sure.
All right, good. All right, very nice of you, Doctor.
Okay.
Dr. Karam's going to talk to you off the air, Jean. All right, we'll be right back. Coming up, we're going to talk to senior communities. We're going to talk to the folks at Salem Crossing. And also coming up, we've got a fundraiser for Officer Ellis. We'll give you details on that coming up on Wave 3 Listens.